Welcome to a world where nothing is quite as it seems. Welcome to Fake Britain.
Get out! Put your hands behind your back now!
Here at the Fake Britain house, we'll reveal the fakes that are flooding the market, conning people like you and me, and making money for the criminals. We'll investigate the fraudsters who are selling us something that isn't real and could be dangerous. And we'll help you avoid falling for a fake. Today on Fake Britain, the faux fur that's actually real animal fur, and the high street chains that have been selling it.
It's definitely not false fur. So if somebody was buying this hoping to avoid fur products, I'm afraid they've been misled.
The faker who conned job seekers out of thousands and then implicated one of his own victims in the crime.
I had a knock on the door and all I heard was police, police.
They may look cute on the outside, but inside these fake nightlights are seriously ugly.
So there's no doubt in my mind that a fault on the electronics, in certain circumstances, the product could actually catch fire.
And fake boxing gear that's leaving gym goers black and blue.
If you wear a fake shin pad and you kick someone, you could break your tibia so easy. If you wear a fake head guard, what price do you put on your brain?
Could you tell the difference between real fur and faux fur? Wearing imitation fur is a choice made by lots of people who think real fur is cruel and unnecessary. Unsurprisingly, the fakers have been keen to get their grubby paws on the fur market, but unbelievably, they're not selling fake fur and pretending it's real. It's the other way round. All of this is real fur that was sold as synthetic fur. It's fake faux fur, and it's deceiving people who might be horrified to find they're wearing the real thing. It's making a lot of money for the fakers. Faux fur is the perfect way to have the look and feel of real fur without any animals being harmed. And it's become so popular that in the last 2 years alone, the number of new synthetic fur products for sale in the UK has more than doubled.
I think in this day of garment technology, there is no need for real fur to be used at all.
Totally against real fur, and I would expect that most things available to us would be faux fur anyway.
But fakers are getting in on the fur action and selling fake faux fur, which means that, horrifyingly, some of the synthetic fur on your high street is not synthetic at all. It's real. Boudica Lee is an animal rights blogger from Croydon in South London. She's noticed real fur for sale on her local high street and believes fakers are trying to pass it off as faux fur.
Here we have a hat. A little hat. Very, very sweet. But if you have a look at the label is 64% acrylic, 36% wool. So no fur mentioned there at all. I believe that this is real fur rather than fake fur because it's on a lining of skin. Fake fur is on a bed of fabric and real fur is on a lining of skin or leather.
She also bought a coat costing £30 and a cardigan costing £10. And just like the hat, both items have a fur trim, but neither has a label saying what it's made of. And that is illegal. Sylvia Rook is a trading standards officer.
If you've got fur trim on a garment, the law says that it needs to say that it contains products of animal origin, so that you know that there is something from an animal on the garment.
If the label makes no mention of any fur, the natural conclusion is that the garment doesn't contain any. So, real fur, not labelled, could easily be mistaken for good quality faux fur.
Is that real fur or is that fake fur?
What do you think?
It looks pretty real. If I was a betting man, I'd say it's fake.
From a high street shop, I would assume that it was fake fur.
Fake Britain wanted to find out what the garments Boudica bought are really made from, so we took them to Dr. Phil Greaves at Microtex near Leeds. With 40 years' experience of studying different fibres, he can tell just from a quick glance through a microscope what type of animal the fur comes from.
This is definitely an animal fibre.
The first one he tests is the cardigan.
This is very, very closely resembling mink.
Next, Dr. Greaves looks at the hat.
And I would say that these are most like weasel. It's definitely not false fur. So if somebody was buying this hoping to avoid fur products, I'm afraid they've been misled.
The fur on the third item, the coat, comes from an animal you may not be familiar with, the raccoon dog. It's a type of wild dog commonly found in Asia. They're known as raccoon dogs because of their distinct markings.
Come up.
Ventura Wildlife keeps raccoon dogs at its conservation centre in North London. Ashley Palmier is the director.
So this is Mango. She's one of our adult raccoon dogs. So raccoon dogs are fascinating creatures. They have this wonderful coat, especially in the winter time like it is now. It grows extra long, and that is what is so beautiful to touch.
But this lovely, fluffy coat is unfortunately what makes them perfect for the fur trade. And there's another reason too.
They have massive litters, and those big litters of anything up to 19 has been recorded will be perfect if you were farming them for fur.
But the fur farms are notorious for the horrendous way in which animals are treated. It's an issue that especially concerns Claire Bass from the Humane Society.
Every year, hundreds of millions of animals are killed in the fur industry. Many of these animals will have led pitiful existences in tiny wire cages barely bigger than themselves. And then they'll have experienced painful deaths by electrocution, by drowning, by being beaten to death, and even skinned alive. So this is a major animal welfare problem.
It's a very horrible thing, really, to imagine this being skinned alive. As you can see here, she's a wonderful creature. She's very friendly. She likes the affection. And to be honest, it's quite saddening to all of us here that this sort of species is being used for the fur trade.
Because of the intensive way animals like the raccoon dogs are farmed, their fur can be produced surprisingly cheaply.
What we've got here is a raccoon dog fur trimming for hoods. The pricing is really shockingly low. 200 pieces, the batches come in, and they work out between $1 and $3 per piece. So you're looking at a 70 centimetre strip of animal fur for as little as basically about a pound.
For many people, it can come as a surprise to learn that real fur can be quite so cheap.
It is, in fact, faux fur. I don't think I have the money to buy real fur. Looking at the price, probably the price could tell you that it's not real fur because it's only $8.99, whereas probably the products with the real fur would be much more expensive than that.
Traditionally, perhaps there's a perception that real fur is a sort of great luxury and very expensive, and that an item that's maybe 10 or 20 pounds couldn't possibly be real fur. But consumers who think that need to think again, because real fur nowadays can be purchased for far less than quality faux fur prices.
So, by not labelling the fur as they should, and by selling it cheaply, fakers are tricking consumers into buying a product they really don't want. But some have gone a step further. They're actually selling real fur clearly labelled as faux fur. And it's happening in well-known high street stores.
Our researchers spent some time looking at a lot of UK websites to look at their items labelled as faux fur, and they identified a few which they thought could be real fur. We then purchased a small number of these, and in a number of cases this turned out to be the case.
One of the garments they bought was a coat from the leading department store House of Fraser. It's described on the website as having a faux fur trim on the hood.
When we come to examine it, we find that it's actually real animal fur. There's a couple of ways to spot faux from real fur. The first thing I'm looking at is the tapering of the hairs. So with real fur, the end of the hairs goes to a very thin, fine point, and that doesn't tend to happen with faux fur. The other thing I'm looking at is the base of the fur. Then you see quite clearly the hairs are attached to a skin.
But it wasn't just the coat. Researchers also found a pair of gloves with a fur trim, sold by popular high street retailer TK Maxx. On their website, the trim is clearly described as faux fur.
When they arrived, we're able to see that in fact they are real animal fur. Probably in this case, most likely rabbit fur, although we'll have to get that tested to confirm it.
Claire's suspicion was confirmed when we took the gloves to fibres expert Dr. Greaves.
And these have been dyed, and they have classic rabbit structures. So these are rabbit fur.
Dr. Greaves also examined the House of Fraser coat.
And these fibres have the appearance of fox. I'm surprised that if it's claimed to be false fur, that it is actually an animal fibre.
So that's 5 different types of real animal fur: weasel, mink, raccoon dog, rabbit and fox that Fake Britain found on the high street. And 2 of them were sold, labelled as faux fur, by well-known high street chains.
If I bought these to find out that these were actually real instead of fake, I'd be furious, absolutely furious.
I would feel that I was massively missold a product that goes against everything that I believe in.
I'd be really annoyed at that, really annoyed. Actually, I don't even want to hold it anymore.
But if people are buying fur without realising, they're contributing to an industry they didn't want anything to do with. And that's giving a false impression of the demand for real fur.
So every year, hundreds of millions of animals are killed in the fur industry. And what we've found here with this short investigation, this snapshot of the market, is that potentially a significant number of these animals are actually being missold as faux fur, which is artificially inflating the market for real fur.
TK Maxx told us it has had a long-standing no-fur policy since 2003 and doesn't knowingly purchase items that contain real fur. Despite having been informed of this policy, one of its vendors mistakenly supplied gloves that contained real fur. TK Maxx regrets that its internal teams didn't catch this error and ensure that these products weren't sold. It's refreshing its practices to avoid a similar error in the future. House of Fraser also told us it has a strict no-fur policy and ensures all of its brands and suppliers are aware of this. It says it was told by the brand that supplied the coat that it was made of 100% polyester and nylon. House of Fraser said it would never knowingly mislead its customers and is very disappointed by the behaviour of this particular brand. As a result, it's terminated its relationship with the brand and no longer stocks any of its products. The high street stores weren't the only ones surprised by Fake Britain's revelations.
Until this was brought to our attention by Fake Britain, we weren't aware that there were so many garments that were potentially being misdescribed in this way. And I certainly feel this matter warrants further investigation by trading standards.
Here on Fake Britain, we're no strangers to the stories of people who thought they'd landed a great new job, only to find out it's a fake. It can be a very distressing experience and result in the loss of a lot of time, effort, confidence and money. But we've discovered it can be even worse than that, because supplying personal details to a fraudster for a job application can also lead to very unpleasant surprises. It's reckoned that in 2013, almost 12 million people used the internet to look for work or apply for jobs. And one of them was product design graduate Anamul Hock. When he needed a job, he went online.
Before I graduated, there was a lot of jobs available. Once I actually graduated, the recession kicked in. So I had a lot of stress in my head thinking I need a job.
Anamul uploaded his CV to the local classifieds website Gumtree and started applying for work. Soon he received an email saying he'd been offered a customer service position paying £23,000 a year.
A lot of companies, they need customer service. As I never had that before, I thought, this is a new field for me to get into.
To confirm the role, Anamul needed to supply a copy of his passport and national insurance number and undergo a Criminal Records Bureau or CRB check costing £50. This would have to be paid for in advance by an unusual means of payment.
They'll go to the nearest PayPal shop and get a UCAS voucher. So I didn't know what a UCAS voucher was.
UCash is a system that allows consumers to use cash to pay online. They hand over their money and in return get a voucher containing a code, which is entered into the website they want to pay. The recipient uses the code to draw the payment into their own online account. Anamul went to his local shop and bought a UCash voucher for £50, as required by the email.
I scanned a copy of my passport. I also scanned a copy of my national insurance card, and I also gave them the UCAS voucher, and they said, okay, we will let you know within 24 hours.
But days went by and Anamul heard nothing.
On the fourth day, checked my email and I thought, okay, you know, the date's coming close, no response, and I actually realised, okay, it was a scam.
It turned out the job was a fake. Anamul kicked himself that he'd fallen for the faker's tricks.
I mean, I really want to swear, but I'm not going to swear. But I was thinking, okay, someone's actually scammed me. I felt little.
What upset Anamul most was that he'd given his personal details to the fakers.
The £50 is not really a big issue, but I've actually sent off my passport and my national insurance card, and that's the big thing for me, as those information can be used to do anything.
Later on, we'll see exactly why Anamul was right to be so worried. But Anamul Haq wasn't the faker's only victim. And for job seeker Marvin Raza from Leeds, it was a much more distressing experience.
I was a student of Leeds Trinity University, and I needed a job.
Marvin posted her CV on the website Gumtree and began applying for work. It was hard at first, but eventually, one day, her luck seemed to have finally changed.
I got an email that we have seen your CV, and so we are appointing you if you are interested with that job.
The email told her she was being offered a sales position in Leeds with a wage of £10 an hour. It asked her to send over a completed application form together with her passport, utility bill and a £50 UCash voucher for the criminal record check.
I was very exciting that, you know, I've got a good job, and I was very happy, and I've got kids and all. They were very happy. Oh, Mama, you got a job.
As well as asking for her personal information, the email had an extra element. It invited her to a 2-day induction and training event to be held at the Hilton Hotel in Leeds city centre in 2 weeks' time. An excited Marvin bought the £50 voucher, sent the required information and waited for the induction day to arrive.
I was very happy in the morning and wake up early, because if you are excited, you get up early. And then kids went to school and they say, oh, Mama, good luck, wish you all the best.
Marvin's husband dropped her off near the hotel and told her he'd be back to pick her up at the end of the day. When she went to the reception, everything changed.
They said there's nothing in here, like there's no conference or nothing booked under this name. And then they said, no, this company doesn't exist. They said it's a scam.
There was no company, no induction, and worst of all, no job. It was all an elaborate fake.
When I called my husband, I was very upset, and I was like literally burst into tears, and I said, please come. I don't want to stay here. And sorry.
Marvin had no choice but to go home and start the job hunt all over again.
I will never forgive them. No, I will never forgive them, because it's not a matter of money, but it's an amount of emotion, what they did.
Meanwhile, Yorkshire and the Humber Trading Standards Scambusters team had received dozens of complaints about the fake email and had begun investigating. John Field led the inquiry.
Around about 50 complaints had been received by Action Fraud and by Trading Standards from individuals who said they'd been misled. And then what we have to do is, like most of these complaints, it's trace the money to see where the money supply has gone.
And the team traced the UCash payments to 3 online bank accounts. Whoever had opened these accounts was clearly involved in the fakery. When they had the details of the 3 account holders, Trading Standards got a warrant to raid and search their homes.
The idea of the execution of the warrants was initially to see if we could identify the 3 individuals whose names appeared on the accounts, because we believe that they perpetrated, committed or could have committed a fraud.
And one of the accounts was in the name of Anamul Haq.
I had a knock on the door, and all I heard was police, police. So I came downstairs, then I see there's a lot of police officers, and they actually started grabbing me, and they arrested me, And before they put in the handcuffs of me, they're telling me this is the reason why we're arresting you, because you've been scamming people. I was a bit baffled. I was like, what's going on? People raiding into my house. I was like, I haven't done anything.
Because his name was on one of the accounts used for receiving UCash payments, Trading Standards believed Anamul was one of the fakers.
Everyone's crying around me. My wife was crying around me, my mum was crying, and everyone's panicking. And at the background, there's officers just coming into the house, because it was like a raid.
They seized his phones and computer and took him down to the police station for questioning. But when they asked him about the £50 UCash vouchers, the experience he'd had 6 months previously all came flooding back.
It hit me and I was like, hold on. 6 months ago, I was actually a victim of a scam.
Not only had the fakers stolen £50 from Anamul for a fake CRB check for a fake job, they'd also used his personal details to set up an online bank account and used that to take payments from other victims. When Trading Standards looked into his computer, they quickly found he was telling the truth.
Because he'd supplied so many details, the fraudsters themselves had been able to set up an account in his name, which indicated that he was the person committing the offence when in fact he was an innocent victim.
Anamul was released without charge.
I'm very sorry about the upset that will have been caused to Mr. Hack and to his family, but there was absolutely no alternative. In terms of our actions, it appeared that he was the perpetrator of the fraud.
So who was this faker who'd stolen Anamul Huq's identity and used it to extract money from other victims? His name was Alexandru Hinku, and he lived in North London at one of the other addresses raided by Trading Standards and police that same morning. Hinku was arrested.
Mr. Hinku admitted to receiving over £3,000 in terms of payments. We're not sure whether that is a full scale of his operation, because UCash payments were also going to accounts that had been set up outside the United Kingdom that we're unable to trace.
Hinku was making thousands from UCash payments for fake criminal records checks for fake jobs. And he's not the only one. Action Fraud has reported several other examples of advance fee scams targeting job seekers. What the targets don't realise is that being asked for a criminal record check up front is clear indication of fakery.
You will never be asked for a criminal record check for working in a call centre, working in a shop, customer service roles, travel and retail.
Adrienne Kelby is Chief Executive of the Disclosure and Barring Service, which administers the UK's criminal record checks.
The criminal record check is required when people wish to work in jobs with the vulnerable, whether that's children or elderly or vulnerable adults. It has nothing whatsoever to do with checking out criminal records for people in general jobs.
Job seekers who do require a genuine check will rarely pay for it themselves and never in advance.
A reputable employer will only ask them for those checks post-interview. They should never be asked to either pay up front or fill in a form before they've been offered a job after a thorough interview process.
But for many of the targets, the effects go far beyond a fake criminal record check and a loss of 50 quid.
These people are vulnerable. They pay money that it's sometimes very difficult for them to get hold of, but then they attend for a job, delighted to have received a job, and the disappointment they must feel when they turn up for an induction to find that they've been a victim of a scam must be heartbreaking for them.
And for a few people, the results are even more devastating.
One of the victims had actually lost a contract job as a result of believing that he had full-time employment. He'd told his contractor that he was unable to attend because he'd been given a full-time job, and they promptly sacked him.
So what can you do if you're applying for jobs online and don't want to be caught out by the fakers?
I'd urge people to be very careful in terms of supplying personal information on the internet, and to be very careful about sending money to individuals that they've had no contact with at all. It's probably very wise, if you're getting something that appears to be from a legitimate company, just to Google that company online and to try and contact them themselves before you send them any money.
The faker Alexandru Hinku pleaded guilty at Leeds Crown Court and received a 6-month suspended prison sentence and 180 hours community service. He was also ordered to pay compensation to his targets. Neither Hilton Hotel nor UCash had any knowledge of or involvement in the crime. Anamul now has a job working as a photographer, but he's still angry about what happened.
I didn't get the job. My £50 went. My personal information is out there. I got arrested, got dragged down to the police station. It's upsetting to me. It was upsetting.
Anne Marvin is now employed at Manchester Airport, but she's still upset by the whole experience.
They played with my emotion, not even with my money, with my emotion as well. They played with my family's emotion as well, and I will never forgive them for that.
One of the most callous types of fakery we see here on Fake Britain is when the criminals get involved with products for children. And we have yet another example right here. This happy little reptile is called a twilight turtle, but while this is the real deal, all his little friends here are turtle fakes. Far from being a fun, comforting and educational nightlight for a child, they are in fact potentially dangerous. A twilight turtle is a soft toy and nightlight rolled into one. It's made by American manufacturer Cloud B. The name and the shape of the toy are protected by trademark. Jeff Weller is a lawyer who fights the fakers on behalf of the company.
A twilight turtle is a nightlight designed to help young children, of any age really, sleep.
As well as being soothing, the turtle is also educational. The design represents real constellations, so parents can teach their children about the night sky.
Their various constellations are set out on the shell, so that when the LEDs shine through, they project onto the ceiling and around the room.
A real twilight turtle will set you back about £30. But you can buy an imposter online at a lower price. And like any imposter, these phony turtles are not to be trusted. As Karen Siret found out when she went to buy presents for her great-niece and nephew's birthdays.
One is one in November and the other is one in December. So I was looking for something special, something different that could have been a combined Christmas and birthday present for them.
Karen searched online for gift ideas and discovered the Twilight Turtles.
When I saw the turtles, they just seemed so lovable. I could just imagine a child wanting it at the side of the bed every night, just looking at those lights and just peacefully going off to sleep.
Karen bought 2 turtles online, costing £19.99 each. They arrived in the post 2 days before the birthday party.
I opened the wrapping and the boxes were destroyed. The boxes were smashed and they didn't look very professional.
What was inside was even worse.
Immediately out pops a plug. Doesn't actually have any English writing on it at all. There's no safety standards on it and it's all in Chinese. Before we take the turtle out, there is a screwdriver that we just randomly find in the box. Pretty lethal for a child. I dread to think that if I'd have given these toys to my niece and nephew to open themselves, what would have happened with that screwdriver, the injury they could have given themselves. And then the turtle, which is not very well made. And this plastic is very sharp on the edges. The buttons are very wobbly. The fabric is coming away underneath, and it's very cheaply glued. So I'm not happy at all.
The turtles were fake. There was no way Karen could give them to the children.
I could have cried because I was so excited to get the turtles that when I realised that we had bought fakes, it was anger and sadness. Yeah.
In his pursuit of the fakers, trademark attorney Jeff Weller has amassed an army of fake turtles that's like an invasive species threatening the survival of the originals. Ooh.
So this is a small selection of counterfeit turtles that we've obtained through test purchases. And as you can see, on first inspection, they all look quite similar. So here we have one original turtle, and that's this one. And the key thing you can see is that this has the Cloud B logo on the bottom of the shell at the back, whereas the other counterfeit turtles don't have that on their shell.
At first glance, the fake turtles seem to be quite convincing copies. It's when you look closer that the cracks begin to appear.
On this fake, this came in the box like this, with the crack through the shell, which certainly would stop it working well as being a danger with the snapped plastic. Additionally, the quality of the turtle underneath the shell in the fakes is variable, to say the least. This came in the box with the fluff already falling out.
And if you try to teach your children about the night sky using a fake turtle, they could end up rather confused.
On the original, you have the constellations here with the crescent moon on my right, and on the fakes, the constellations the wrong way round, the crescent's on the other side. This kind of highlights part of the problem that is facing the Twilight Turtle, in that it's a high quality original here being swamped by a growing army of counterfeits.
The poor quality of the fakes can also be seen when you turn them on.
If we take the original away, see that's the constellation with the crescent moon up on the left. Put the original there, and then take the counterfeit away. See a much clearer star pattern, much more detailed. The crescent moon's up on the right, and also very clearly different impact as a lamp in the room.
If you shell out for a fake, you're clearly getting ripped off. But that's not the worst thing that could happen.
There could be a risk that the electrics would go wrong, maybe resulting in fire. We don't know what would happen if a child chewed, swallowed, played too vigorously with this toy, whether it would break. We don't know what the chemicals, what the materials would, what effects they would have, because we just don't know the quality or the standards these have been produced to, if any.
To find out how unsafe the fake turtles really are, we took a couple to toy testing specialist Dr. David Elks at Intertech.
So we've got two turtles here. One is real, one is fake. Just a quick look shows we've got labels, we've got a manufacturer, we've got CE mark, we've got some instructions, and here we've got no labels, no markings, and we can see stuffing. So under the Toy Safety Directive, this would be a straight fail because we've got a choking hazard potential from the stuffing.
Next, Dr. Elks tests the durability of the toy using a 7-kilogram weight to mimic children's rough play.
Ready? Or not. That is not what is supposed to happen. We've torn the whole side of the toy, which again, where we've got stuffing exposed at the base, we've now got it all around the sides as well.
When the genuine turtle is put through the same test, it passes with flying colours.
There you go. No ill effect.
The fake turtle has already failed to meet toy safety standards and shouldn't be allowed on sale. But Fake Britain wanted to see what might happen if a fault with the turtle's wiring were to cause a spark. Electrics testing expert Ray Jeffries does a very simple test to see what might happen if the toy were to catch fire. Plastic used to make children's toys should be fire retardant.
This plastic material should self-extinguish in 30 seconds. We've got flaming droplets coming off. It's just burning. There's no flame retardants in the plastic whatsoever. So there's no doubt in my mind that a fault on the electronics, in certain circumstances, the product could actually catch fire and cause a very serious fire, and I should imagine as well toxic fumes.
The fake turtle has well and truly failed the safety tests. It's not just turtles. Another product, the Twilight Ladybug, is also being faked. And the fakes are a major cause of concern for the manufacturer.
We feel that 25 to 50% of the market out there could be counterfeit products. Sometimes we're dealing with eBay or Amazon sellers who may be selling themselves tens to hundreds, or it may even be in the thousands. So the numbers are very high.
But if you don't want to get caught out when buying online, what can you do?
Watch out for big price differences between the turtle you're seeing for sale and the price that we sell this for. That should be an indicator this possibly isn't an original being sold.
Karen's experience has left her disappointed and wary of buying anything on the internet.
It's very sad that there are people out there selling these products to unsuspecting members of the public with no regard to safety, items that could harm their child.
Martial arts are booming in Britain, with thousands of people keen to learn new skills or just keep fit. Of course, the first thing most people do when they have a new passion is buy all the kit, and it can be expensive. This is Thai boxing equipment. It's supposed to protect people in a very physical sport. The problem is it's all fake. The fakers, of course, are a lot more interested in making money than keeping us safe. This is Muay Thai, or Thai boxing. Flipping heck, you wouldn't want to mess with these guys, would you? But some very unwise fakers are doing that by selling fake Thai boxing equipment. Today, more and more of us are recognising the importance of a healthy and active lifestyle. And thanks to our new focus on fitness, martial arts like Thai boxing have taken off. There are now more than 400 gyms in the UK offering Thai boxing classes at all levels, from fitness fans who enjoy the exercise to high-level amateurs who relish the challenge of going a few rounds in the ring. Paul Hamilton's the president of the UK Muay Thai Federation.
Thai boxing is dramatic, it's exciting. You've got hands, legs, knees, elbows, so you've got a game of chess with a lot of action.
Many of those who take part in Thai boxing classes do so just for the exercise and have never come face to face with an opponent. But for those who do progress into the ring, like this intermediate class, injuries are a very real possibility.
You can get a broken jaw, you can get a broken leg. It's part of the game.
To protect themselves and each other from harm, participants use a variety of protective gear. Two of the most popular brands are Fairtex and Twins. At Stars Thai Boxing Gym in London's Battersea, head coach Matty Parks keeps a selection of equipment for novice fighters.
We have 16-ounce gloves. They might look a bit old, but they're still very firm at the front, so there's no chance of people's knuckle coming through on the padding. Shin protection, they're very firm at the front, so there's not going to be so much trauma to the leg if you happen to take quite a strong leg kick. Full face head guard here. And this area here stops pretty much any kind of bruising around the face.
But of course the fakers don't worry about health and safety. And with Muay Thai, one of the fastest growing sports in the UK, they've been quick to spot an opportunity. A pair of genuine boxing gloves costs from around £80, but you can buy a fake pair online from around £40.
Fakes. I see quite a bit of it. Yeah, especially from people that are getting into it first time.
Luckily for one faker, when justice finally caught up with him, it wasn't one of these guys, but the very gentle Tim Kyahan from Caerphilly Trading Standards.
We were contacted by the brand holder and they'd seen a business in our area advertising their equipment, and it was quite clear to them, just from looking at the images, that it was counterfeit. So we were able to get a warrant from the magistrates and raid the premises.
Trading Standards sees 64 fake Fairtex and Twins punch bags, as well as boxing gloves and head guards. The total value is over £7,000.
Here we are in our secure storage facility where we keep all the fakes that we've seized over the years. We've got everything you could think of here, electrical goods, tobacco, of course clothing, makeup, footwear, you name it, we've got it. You can see the punch bags, just over 60 of them, they go back into the store there, as well as a selection of some of the gloves and the head guards.
Unsurprisingly, Fairtex and Twins weren't too happy about their products being faked.
The sale of counterfeits affects businesses in two ways, really. Obviously, it's taking money out of their pockets because they're not selling their goods, because the fakes are being sold. And also, there's a reputational damage. These goods are inferior in quality. If they fall apart after a few uses, it obviously affects the good name of the product.
But the fakes have another, far more serious effect.
If you wear a fake shin pad and you kick someone, you could break your tibia so easy.
If I punch you and I've got insufficient padding on my hands, I could do serious trauma to your face.
If you wear a fake head guard, what price do you put on your brain?
It could be rib injuries, it could be knee injuries, ankle injuries, foot injuries.
It's happened numerous times with people who wear fakes.
Paul's seen firsthand the damage that fake equipment can do.
One of my guys came in with a fake pair of gloves on. I told him they were fake. Didn't basically listen. Went on the pads with another guy, threw a left hook. The next thing he screamed, took his glove off, broke his wrist.
We took the fake equipment seized by Trading Standards to be assessed by experts Paul and Matty.
Can you tell the difference between the fakes, how you can press your fingers in and feel your fingers on the other side?
Yeah, you can squeeze through the padding quite easily. And
yeah, and there's no...
punching someone, your knuckles will come right through on that shot.
Yeah.
Cause someone damage.
6 weeks of proper training on proper bags are going to break that pattern. He's going to jump in the ring and instantly break someone's nose. If you look at the real ones, you can feel that that pattern is going to last a lot longer.
These have been specially built to punch people in the face, whereas these have been specially built to rip people off.
100%.
The lack of proper padding is just as obvious in the fake headguard.
One of the most important things in a Thai boxing gym when you're a bit of a novice.
If you just point them at the camera, it's just like you can see
the difference.
Massive difference between the two different items.
But it's the pattern, it's just non-existent really. And this is what's supposed to be protecting your face and your head. You might as well put a plaster on your head with this. I mean, if I press that in there, the actual indent stays in, look.
Yeah.
In short words, this headguard, it is what it is, it's rubbish.
The fake punch bags are just as bad.
You don't need to be a brain surgeon to work that's fake. If I bought that for my gym, I think it'd last about a week and the lads would have a hole in it. The stitching's actually sharp. That stitching there is actually...
It's gonna cut your shins when you kick it.
Yeah, and then inside, let's see what surprises we've got.
What's that? Someone's knickers?
Yeah. I think them went out in a fashion a while ago.
The hell is... Okay. It's ladies' underwear, lots of ladies' underwear. If you're ever not sure if you bought a fake bag, just have a look in the top.
In fact, I don't go there down too deep. I might find someone.
Unlike the fake bags, a professional punch bag is tightly packed with finely shredded cotton.
It's ridiculous.
It's just cheap. I mean, if you're paying nearly to the value of what a real one is, you're definitely getting ripped off.
Paul Hamilton is angry that the fakers are taking advantage of Thai boxing's rising popularity.
The people that are copying the stuff don't care about the people that are wearing them. They don't care about the sport. They don't care about the health of someone. They just care about how much money they're making.
And the message for the fakers is clear. For goodness sake, you're messing with the wrong people. That's all from Fake Britain. Goodbye.